You are listening to the Pneumius podcast with Uziel and Today we are interviewing Evyatar Lazar. Evyatar Lazar is a well-renowned actor in the Charedi community in Eretz Yisrael. He has acted in many films such as Jewish Revenge, The Honest Thief, and so on, captivating many of its viewers to how deep and how well he goes with his characters and his portrayals in these films. We go deep about acting of then and now, and what is lacking, what is good in both the religious films in Israel and also in films in Israel in general. And we also go deep on what it means to compare acting to life and how he takes it personally with his job. So please join me as we go with Pneumius with Evyatar Lazar.
Pneumius, oi Pneumius, oi Pneumius, won't you come and join us, Pneumius? Oh, great, a podcast! Shh, we're about to start.
All right, here we are with the legendary Evyatar Lazar. You know him from Jewish Revenge. You might also know him from The Honest Thief. You might know him from Chavash and so much other media from all the way from the Charedi media in Eretz Yisrael. How are you, Reb Lazar? How are you?
Fine. Good morning. It's morning here. What time it is in Florida, but good morning.
Right now it's 2 a.m.
Oy vavoy. I'm sorry to keep you awake at this hour.
Oh, no. It's my pleasure. You cannot imagine how excited I was when I had this opportunity. I literally grew up with a lot of the videos that you did with Glovais and Gila Oshar. So
you grew up and I'm growing old.
So I wanted to start with very simply that the American crowd doesn't know you as well as the Israeli audience. So I just want to know a little bit about yourself, like where you originally come from.
Originally, I was born in France because my parents were students there at the time, the 1960s.
Wow.
And I was born at the age of 1 month. They finished their studies and came back to Israel. They're Israeli. They were born in Israel. So I was born in France, but I made my aliyah at the age of 1 month. And my childhood was split between Israel, Jerusalem, and some years, some of them were in England. That's where I initially learned my English, and France also. About 7 years of my childhood were spent in England and France. The rest of it in Jerusalem. And
very nice.
After my military service, I went to live in the whereabouts of Tel Aviv for about 10 years until I started my tshuva, my interest in Judaism, and then I slowly switched to Bnei Brak, and I live in Bnei Brak since then.
Wow,
but
very nice.
I call it the free Bnei Brak, the soft Bnei Brak, not the hardcore. That's too heavy for me.
Very nice. So I guess my main question, which is where do you think the acting came from? Was it from your childhood? Was it more when you were older in the military?
No, it was childhood. I remember as a kid being in drama courses in school, and things like that, and I liked it very much. Why in my psychology I have this tendency. I can't really I don't really know what in my psychology makes me. I can say that maybe it's relevant for a kid also as an adult. It has something of a runaway from reality, being somebody else. As one I as some one of my teachers once said, actors are people who do not enjoy their lives, their real lives. Otherwise, they would have lived them. They want to be somebody else, somewhere else, at a different place, a different time, a different life. And there is truth in that. It's an escape. It's a way of living, being in an energy or reacting in manners I cannot allow myself to do in my real life. It's more extreme. It's more extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, allow yourself to behave in a way you can't in a real life.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, that's maybe more for the directors, but also for in a way for actors. You play the part of Hashem in a play. You decide how things will go. You direct them. You go. You decide how things will end. How will they go? You're the director.
Right.
So it's like playing, being Hashem a bit, and controlling life like you can't in real life.
Right. So I guess if we're on the topic of Bitzad, how you would connect your acting to your real life. So you mentioned how you became a Baal Tshuva around the time after the military. Do you think that since
it was 10 years later, at the age of 30, about.
Oh, okay. So my question is that I grew up in a Chabad house in America. My father is a Chabad rabbi, and you definitely see that a lot of especially Israelis when they go through the process of Baal Tshuva, they get very deep with what they're learning. They take it very eternally. Do you think that process added a lot to your acting, or do you think the acting was as a job and it didn't matter before or after?
First of all, I can say that today, as a religious person, there are criterias, very clear criterias. As a non-religious person, actors would act anything, and the more sorry to say, the more perversive it is, the more pervert you are, you're as if more total or more extreme, or you're going to the limits. As a religious actor, you'd say, no. There are things that are destructive. They are negative. I will not be part of this. I will not act in these directions. It's inappropriate. So that's one thing. I guess the more deep you are, it could reflect in your acting. But the point is that I don't know how religious films are give the opportunity, or tend to be deep, or they're more like action a bit like the Jewish Revenge. It's a bit more action, more external.
Yeah. Yeah, external.
A lot of times it's for kids.
Right.
Also, there's always the difficulty in Jewish religious acting is you can't, because you can't have men and women acting together. So a lot of personal issues and family issues can be told, or you can't make movies on these subjects.
Or at least it would be like a storyline where it's up to the actor to show that emotion with, like, let's say if there's a mother that's not in the story but was in the story of the life of the character or something, right? That would be up to the actor to portray in such films.
Yeah, but she's always be off screen. She's always dead.
Right, yeah. That's true. Do you think that's more difficult to portray on screen in these types of films, even though it is important that we keep the boundaries of the demographic, but do you think it's harder for the actor in any way?
I don't think it's harder. It's because the issue is not your wife or your mother in these stories. So
Right.
you don't have to imagine. The story is different. It's a story about men.
Right, yeah.
And also the that's, I think, a default. The Charedi community doesn't like to, prefers not to negotiate issues that are problematic. Let's not talk about it, okay? Instead of let's talk about it, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about kids who want to leave the way of the Torah. Let's not talk about family problems between kids and fathers, for example. Kids who don't want to be a Talmid Chacham. These are issues that aren't popular to talk about. So really deep emotional, personal stuff isn't touched, isn't filmed. It's not. You know what I mean? Do you understand?
But I don't think it's just. I think it's mainly the Haredi, and not just in Haredi in Israel, but also it was a very big thing in America with the Orthodox community. But I think now it's getting more popular, the fact that these issues have to be talked about. The one example, I don't know if you know the film, but one example I talked about Rav Weigel the last podcast. He made a film about Shev Levavot, where it was about a father, a father's journey to a child's journey to be open about his family life with the relationship with his father abusing him and so on and so forth. And we were touching on the subject that these subjects do have to be talked about. And I think that's very important. And I encourage everybody to take that bravery step to take that step to open up about these things.
And it could be done in a very good manner, a very educational manner, and in a kosher way, and a constructive way. So that's up to script writers,
right,
to do. I know that here in Israel there is a person who is, his profession is treatment, emotional treatment, and he these last years, the shows or the plays he writes are about these issues, about parents, families accepting the fact that their son isn't isn't a Talmid Chacham. It's okay if he doesn't go to the best yeshiva or be, even if it's a kind of a family pride. It's okay if he's not. You have to let him be who he is and respect his choices. And it's yeshivas take the play and show it to the parents, to the yeshiva bachurs themselves.
Wow, that's incredible.
And it's very emotional. It has a very big impact, and I think it's a great thing he did. It's about time. That would be the direction of filmmaking or play writing, and not just doing some family entertainment for the Chagim. Okay, fun,
Right.
Fun in the shtetl,
Right.
musical in the shtetl.
Right. And I do believe that stories need to be, because I always say that when people write stuff, also like sometimes on my own, when I write stuff myself, the one question I always ask is what is this story? And I think one of the things that it has to focus on sometimes is that it's not just the spectacle, it's not just the screen. At the end of the day, are you telling a story about a character moving forward from point A to point B, and is this and is that the story? And if it's not that story, then what story are we telling then?
That's the story of our lives. We are born. That's Hasidut. I don't know if it's Litayut. I don't know if Litvaks agree, but Hasidut is you're born point A. If you leave the world still at square one, you've wasted your life.
Right.
Something has to change. You gotta change. That's more Hasidut. I think that the scholarship nowadays is more information, and by the way, maybe it will change you in a way if you go along with halacha and you know how to do right judgment so you act inside the mold you're supposed to. But if you want to do some inner change, I started learning with Litvaks, and finally I'm more into Hasidut.
Right. So I do want to touch on a few films where I think you performed it beautifully in that aspect of you took the character in a journey, and one of them is Nekama Yudit Aleph, Jewish Revenge 1. Can you tell me a little bit about that film?
First of all, it's 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah. But I'm saying I'm mainly asking, like, what can you say about the film, or anything you remember about how you approached the character mostly, or what do you think was the goal at the end of the day when you were putting the story together with Yehuda Goldweiss when he brought you into the project?
First of all, I think you're giving it more weight than it really had. or there were, I don't think we had any rehearsals apart from on the set.
That's crazy.
It's very quick. It has to be very quick because it's money time.
Right. And also you were filming in Ukraine.
It's in about 10 days, 10 shooting days. All of it. The part in
film was 10 days?
abroad. something like that. Yeah. We were abroad for about a week, and that was more the action stuff, I think, the outdoors for the production value to make it more, special, shot abroad. So the outdoors, going into cars, movement, sets that were abroad. We were there for about a week, no more than that, and then 2 or 3 days in Israel for the indoor stuff.
Wow. I'm
If I
just
remember
thinking.
well. And during that week, at the same time, apart the Jewish Revenge, he shot Yesh Din Veyesh Dayan.
Yeah, judges and judgments. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the same. Two of these days, or 1 or 2 of these days, were for Yesh Din and Yesh Dayan.
They
He's
filmed. You're telling me that
Grovais.
they filmed. You're telling me they filmed Judges and Judgments in Ukraine, the back to back. But all those scenes in Ukraine for 2 days.
Something like that. Yeah. No more. No more. If
Wow.
more, it's 3 days. No time for too much interstates and processes and emotional processing. It's come on, 2 takes. Okay, let's go on. Money,
Wow.
time is running. Come on. It's okay. We'll manage. It's okay. Kadima.
As an actor, that was probably because as an actor, when you want to approach like certain things, like certain moments in the film, it was probably hard for you to do that when it's quick like that.
I remember. I don't know if it was Yesh Din Veyesh Judgment, the movie. There was one movie where I didn't easily find my way, or I didn't really know how to do it, what to do. Didn't find the way to act it properly, the character. That's part of the speed that things have to bring. No time for checking, no time for rehearsals, but how do you say תוצאה?
The
תוצאה,
result.
the result. Yeah, you have to bring the result here and now on the spot. No time
Wow.
for too much checking around. For example, the Jewish Revenge. It's a bit also of the model of the American action film. You have to be kind of the kind of a macho male, stiff, tough character, which is kind of what would you call it? A kind of a model.
That is crazy. Because then also what's hard is that those that are working after the project, the post production, right, with editing and with everything, and there's no reshoots. Like you're not going back to Ukraine to reshoot anything if you made any mistakes. So that's probably hard afterwards.
Well, he had it in his mind, Yuda Grovais, and he knew what he was doing and what he wanted. And even if it's not perfect, but it's always like that. Maybe even in big films, not everything is 100% perfect as it was imagined.
Right. Nothing is. I know when I put together projects in my head, I do some little films here and there for myself. It's never the same result as you imagined it before. But sometimes it's even better that way because it shows that you're able to, because once you go through the process and once you're in the moment and you change things around, you kind of realize that there's more to it. There's a different tone or there's something missing that you found. So most times it's better for it.
Yeah, sometimes, I know examples of people who wrote something and then it was deleted and they rewrote it and they discovered it was better the second time.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so I guess I wanted to ask a few other films that I'm a big fan of, but there's one film that I really wanted to know like the real process behind it. Like what how it came about. I guess the one that you did, Nikamai, you did Bet with Eichman.
Yeah.
I remember. I'm not sure how. I don't remember exactly how much was the real story, how much Yoda put down on paper. But I remember feeling for every single character in that film, like the I'm saying the Mossad agents, your character, and I forgot your co-star's name, but
I think the tall guy. I think his
yeah,
name,
the Gingy.
if I remember
Yeah.
well, his name was Ronen, but I don't remember
Yes,
his
Ronen.
family name.
Yeah.
I
It was
can't
Ronen.
remember his family name now.
But
I
I
haven't met him
remember
since.
since that film.
No, yep, haven't met him since.
Wow. But I remember that was the one Girl of Ice film that I actually like felt for the characters, and I think that was just a complimentary for the writing, but also for you what you and Renan put to the screen. Would you like to at least tell us a little bit like what was behind that project?
These are questions you should ask Yuda Grovais more than me
Right, yeah.
because
Yeah, but I guess my question is more for the actor. Like what was behind the project as you was coming into the project as the actor, what you wanted to put into what you though asked from you, and then what spin do you want to put into it that led to the result of me as an audience member loving it? That's basically my question as an actor.
you're asking me questions that again this was about 18 years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember these details, and also a part of having that I don't know, these mustache on the sides of my cheeks.
Sideburns.
Yeah, and just acting. I don't remember much more than just being goal oriented, being stable, goal oriented, being clear with my duty as an agent.
Yeah.
I remember in acting school, a director once said about these kinds of characters. I think she said it's a person after he says a sentence, grass doesn't grow behind. It means it leaves a dry, a burnt land. In Hebrew, it sounds logical. I didn't manage to translate it. Is that
Go ahead.
He says a sentence and
It doesn't grow.
Yeah, nothing can grow after. For example, it's a person who wouldn't when he asks a question, it's not a question, it's a saying. It won't be what's the time with a question mark. It would be what's the time.
Right.
It's like I'm giving an answer. I'm not asking a question.
Right. Yeah.
It's a demand. So that's what I can remember, more or less. If I remember well, the emotional part was more of Ronen's. He had a great monologue there, emotional, which was really, really, really good, a really perfect one.
Yeah. If that process was the same where it was like one take, that takes a lot to do it in one take.
Again, this can't remember.
So I guess I'll ask a more general question. What do you think you find your sweet spot in the more intense thriller type of roles, or in the more comedic, the funny ones, or the more comic relief type of roles? What do you think is you find yourself more?
I think my tendency is more to drama, less comic, more serious stuff about life, about serious issues.
And you think that all goes back to how you were saying how you grew up, and an escapism of who you are, and that's why you find yourself more into that kind of genre of acting?
Yeah, because as we talked about Hasidut before, and Hasidut is checking out our lives. How do we behave? Who are we? What our goals are? Are we good enough? Are we good parents, good husbands, good wives, good family people? Do we do any chesed? Are we able to overcome ourselves, as the Tanya says, itkafia, right?
Right, Scafi, yeah.
So these are things, matters that that I'm troubled with. I ask myself, and I'd really like for the subject I'm acting. I'd love them to try to deal with these questions, these dilemmas, choices, and also, for example, I think, unfortunately, I don't know. I'm not a writer. I don't know how to write plays or scripts. I've tried a bit. Nothing came out of it. But I think a very great achievement would be for the religious world to manage to write something that would influence, impact, evoke things for the non-religious.
Do you think it's up to the person that experienced that transition, like about Tshuva, kind of like you, a screenwriter that went through something like your experience, or do you think it takes a person who's from the outside of that spectrum, so someone that's already been religious from birth, or someone who, what do you think would be the best demographic to put together such a thing?
I think a Baal Tshuva would do it, is more apt to do it, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Generally, I think maybe Chabad is an exclusion, because Chabad hold both worlds.
Balance.
They have a balance of both worlds. They know they're not afraid of interacting with the non-religious. On the contrary, the rabbi and the shluchim, their whole goal is to mingle with the non-religious.
Yeah.
And they know both worlds. They're in touch with the religious and the non-religious. They know about both sides, all sides of life, more than somebody who was born into the Charedi life, and he's in the community, doesn't know, disconnected from, and even disconnected as a policy.
Yeah.
from whatever is going around and about. So I think by the way, I think that's why Chabad are so popular and beloved with the non-religious population in Israel. Because, as we said, they know about both sides and they take part in both worlds. So, for example, by mingling and being soldiers. So, and generally, I think that the Bsorah, the Geulah, will come by the Chozrim B'Tshuva, who really know about the poles, the different poles of extreme poles of life, and they can do the balance, as you said, or the mixture of it all.
Right.
Yeah, and bring a new kind of vision.
I totally agree, and I'm really happy to hear that they're, especially in Israel. Here's the thing is that I do feel like that the Israeli crowd, or the Israeli video movie industry, a lot of people that are involved in it are very artist like. Because I feel like in America, when you have the people who are involved in the movie industry, it's more half of the appeal to it is like the celebrity and the stars and people gravitating towards people. But I do feel like in Israel, in Eretz Yisrael, you can have like your neighbor being the guy that's in a big like show or in a big movie, and so like, oh, it's just a friend. So I feel like most of the Israeli movie industry is more uh artist based. They're really focusing. They're doing it purely for the art. Is that a wrong assumption, or is that I'm just reading it too much? Probably.
I think it. I don't know. It's personal. It's. I don't know if you can do a very generalize.
Right.
I
It makes
think
sense. That makes sense. Yeah. That makes
but
sense.
I do remember that's years ago. I saw an interview with a reporter interviewed a very big um, Hollywood producer, originally Israeli, Arnon Milchan.
Okay.
Okay, he's supposed to be a very famous or involved with very big Hollywood, the first-rate productions. And the reporter asked him, "How do you negotiate with all these movie stars whose egos are so soft and super egos?" He stopped them. Hold your horses. Why do you think they have great egos? He corrected him. He said they are so absorbed and into their into the role, into what into their work, into how to do the part they have to do. They're totally in that. They're not into show off or anything like that. Maybe afterwards, for commercial reasons, they have to give interviews or stuff like that. But he said about them that they are 100% into their focused on their part, nothing else.
Yeah,
but I guess it's personal. Somebody told me why art isn't so developed in all domains of art, in the religious world, and his answer was that it's in the religious world, it comes as the third or fourth number 4 in importance.
It's not their top priority.
Yeah, exactly. You'd first have learning Torah, avodat midot, family, and afterwards parnasa, and afterwards art. And in the non-religious world, art is religion.
Huh.
That's touching the beyond, trying to touch the world beyond, the life beyond, trying to be in touch with a life that is beyond the not beyond material, but beyond the everyday life.
Yeah.
That's the escape. As religious people, we try not to escape, or we try to escape into the high reality. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Right, yeah. It totally makes sense.
We
Also
have our
gravitate-
everyday life, which might have difficulties, might have always has difficulties, always with these nisyonot.
Right.
And we don't try to run away to forget about it by having fun and escaping it. We try to deal with it through Torah, which tries to give us the right point of view and the real way of living,
Right.
the correct way to live life. And in non-religious world, we try to run away just for escape.
Right.
So
And you can
when
only
I
go so
said,
far.
so when I said just to forget about life, in a way,
Yeah.
let's forget about life for a second, because life is tough. And the religious world will say, let's get in touch with life. Let's not run away and do the opposite. Let's try to solve the thing in depth. And also, when I said that acting is escaping, yes, for me it is a way of escaping difficulties. But it's not that I'm trying to avoid these difficulties. They're there, and the escaping is in a manner that is educational.
Right.
So personally, maybe I'm escaping and trying to take some time off of my nisyonot and forgetting who I am and being somebody else, a different character for the moment. But at least what I'm doing in the show, in the play, in the movie, is trying to connect myself and the viewers to the real life, how to cope with. A religious film or play is supposed to give morals, give tools, so that when the show ends, he'll be wiser with his own life. That's the ideal, as I said before. If we could get and give moral to the non-religious and evoke something.
Right.
Unfortunately, what goes on is family, you know, as I said before, entertainment for families on the
Right, yeah.
Chagim. So okay, it has a nice moral. It's fun. It's it has things. There is a saying there, but it's not deep enough.
Right. And that makes total sense. And from what you're describing right now, it seems like the one project that you probably enjoyed the most is the recent one you did with Yehuda with you Nekama Yehudit Shesh, because that was based on what I saw on reports and what Yehuda was posting, like it was that definition that you were describing. It was it was that deep film that people need, and it was that deep realism that was giving a certain message, not necessarily to impose anything or to go in front of anything, but it was a simple message of these artists and creators coming together because of the kufa of the time that we were in, and that probably was like one of your favorite heights of your career, probably.
Yes, I agree with everything you said, and I don't know much. I don't know anything about what goes in the general media, not religious media, but I won't be surprised to hear that he was maybe the first or one of the first to bring the reality of the war in Gaza right now into film.
Yeah, because that's such a complicated subject for anybody to take on. It's such a project. Like that must have been crazy, even for you. Like for him to come to you and say, "Hey, can you be part of the project?" Even though it might have been not one of the main roles, or it might not have been as big as the main actor or anything, but it was probably like a daunting task for you to be part of because it's such a project.
Yeah, of course, and you know the main character, Ellie, he is he himself during the shooting was in the reserves army, active reserves army in Gaza.
Yeah, I heard about that
during the shooting, and he's a very elite elite unit soldier.
Yeah,
one of the most elite units that there are, which is a great closure of circles.
Yeah, yeah.
A fighter himself doing his fighting during shooting and doing this part specifically. That's real life.
Yeah,
that's where, in his case, real life and the movie came together.
Right.
But again, as we talked about the Jewish Revenge 1, I went there for, he more or less surprised me about 2 weeks before the shooting. And all my parts were shot in one day.
Oh my God.
And I didn't have enough time to learn by heart, especially the English version. Okay, the Hebrew version I managed to control, but the English version was I needed much more time for it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like trying to survive the circumstances.
Right.
I didn't have enough time to prepare myself. I didn't come as I would have liked to be
Right.
more sure with the text, sure with myself, more confident with what I'm supposed to do, more yeah. I wasn't ready enough, and we had to shoot it in all of it in one day.
Oh my gosh! You filmed all your parts in one day.
Well, everything. What I was there for just one day, 12 hours.
Oh my!
A work day of
Gosh.
12 hours.
That is crazy.
That's
crazy.
That's the, as I said, that's the mode of that's
Wow.
the
Yeah,
pace.
You must have like came to set like a Nekamayu D6, and you might have been like, "Yep, this is Gorvice. This is the way it goes." Especially when you've been with him for the other films.
Yeah. So, and unfortunately, we he contacted me about 2 weeks before, which didn't allow me enough time to learn it appropriately as I would have preferred. But that's the way it was. That's the way it is. When I saw the movie, I was more or less satisfied. It was respectable enough, at least the Hebrew version. I don't know how the English version came out.
Yeah. So as an actor, when you do the film and then when you watch it at the end, how often do you watch the film, or if you do watch it after and go like, I could do that better, or we should have done it different? Does it happen often?
Yeah, it does.
Like, does it happen with every project, or do you think it's just most?
No, here and there were projects I was satisfied with. You can always find little moments that could have been better. But there's no end to it.
Right.
And la davar sof. We can, at a certain point, that's the best we could do under the circumstances.
Right. So you did a lot of plays with Ofer, right? That's his name, Ofer Halevi, which he's a monster of what he does. It's amazing what he does. Even now, like he's literally a boy in like an adult body, like how he approaches the project and everything. And all those plays are amazing. Do you find yourself enjoying yourself more on stage and rehearsing like for weeks before and then doing it on stage, or do you think you're more comfortable behind the camera? What do you think is your sweet spot?
I think I prefer the stage. Prefer when it's more extrovert, more physical, more can be more external, more grotesque sometimes.
Yeah.
With a touch of comedy, with a touch of being freaking out.
Yeah. Adrenaline is also there, right? When you're on stage,
when it's more, it's not a 10-second shooting and cutting. It's more it's more fluent.
Yeah.
And especially in Ofer Halevi's shows, it has an aspect of freedom. Also, because it's because of his character and his tendency to improvise.
Yeah.
And because the Charedi audience isn't that strict. It's not like going to the theater and being really doing things properly.
Yeah, there's no standards.
It's free. Yeah, no standards, no strict standards, and it's for the family, and the audience is a bit. It's kids. There's something free about it. Something.
Especially that play. I'm blanking on that play, but it's called something. But it's the one where you were a little kid in Russia and you were sent to the forest and you were pirates.
Hanirdaf.
Yeah, Hanidaf. Yes, Hanirdaf. Yeah. I thought you were beautiful in that because it's like you being a kid in a kid's play for kids. And it worked beautifully though, because I loved Ofer Halevi's. Also, he like played 3 characters in that play. Like his way of, he played 3 characters. He played your uncle, right, the adoptive father. Then he
and
played
then
the pirate, and then also the comedic police officer. Like, and and it works so well for some reason because that's how his character is.
the funny thing is, here and there we still play this. We still I think it's the most long living play he has, because we here and there we still do it. And at the age of almost, I'm 57, 58.
No
and
way.
I still
You
have
still
to
do
play
that play.
I still have to play that kid, which is funny. And then he said, when the question is, when I ask him as a pirate, when did your son, when did you part from your son? How old was he? And he said, he was 30. He has to cheat the age, so it has some logic to it.
But does he have
It's a
like
bit
the
ridiculous
same...
already. But that's
Yeah.
what, as we said, the standards are excusable.
Yeah, but that must be so, like, the weight is off your shoulders as an actor, because then you have more room to just go with your gut and just improvise.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it has its pros and cons. It's
Right. It
on the
has
other
to be. It
hand,
has to be. There's no way it can't.
when standards are fluid, it, there might be less the results are lower. The standard is a bit lower.
Yeah. All
But
right.
I don't know how much religious Charedi audience is patient to sit down and enjoy a drama.
Right.
I think the audience is looking for fun.
They're looking for captivating spectacles.
Yeah, it's big families, a lot of duties in the house, learning duties, no free time. And then when it's Chanukah, Purim, Ben Azmanim, vacation, they want to relax, want to have fun.
There's no taking a step back and soaking in what the story is trying to tell you, or the main parts of where normally as a storyteller it would matter when it comes to story, the character, the life journey.
When we here and there did some drama, it didn't it wasn't captivating.
Yeah.
They said, where are the songs? There are no songs. Where are the dances?
And you're sitting there like, that's not the, like, sometimes I see what you mean, because also sometimes
finally it doesn't sell.
Right.
The people who are into buying the show for their communities said, no, that's not what we are looking for. Unfortunately, the Charedi community or way of life isn't open for a husband and wife going out to see a kosher play about life.
Right.
It doesn't exist. Shows are mainly on Chagim and vacations.
Right.
There's no going out seeing something serious about family life, for example.
So, all right. So, thank you so much, Reb Lazar.
My pleasure.
We are running out of time. But I want to ask you one more question before we go, because as a fanboy, I just have to ask.
Do you have any good stories about the film you did? I know it was a long time ago, and I know maybe you were going as an actor, but I have to ask because it was one of my fan favorites, Hanvel הכחול. Where you did with it was the one where you had to find the Choshen HaMishpat.
Yeah.
No, not the Choshen. No, not the Choshen. It was like the map. You had to find the treasures of the Bet HaMikdash, and it was you and with Michal Weigel was Eliyahu Navi or something like that. I thought that was an amazing film. I think it's underrated, and also like you do see like I think you put one of your best performances because like throughout the film with your character, I don't know if you remember a lot of it, but the character's story is a person that puts his life's mission in front of his life, right? You see this alone person, alone in his house, and he was trying to finish his father's uh uh life mission, and he just puts his job in front of everything else in his life because he had to. He just felt the responsibility of doing it. And I think you performed it very well, and I felt for you, both in the aspect of like as a character, but also like, oh, I feel so good that you're accomplishing and the performance you put. I just had to put it out there that I love that film.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Do you have any stories about it? Do you remember or?
You're when you talk about it, it's sad because the director passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and the character who was the the priest, the main priest there.
Yeah, yeah.
The bold person.
His name was Carlos.
Okay, the
Ani
okay,
Carlos Mauritius Hashishi.
Ani Paulus Mauritius Hashishi.
Exactly. Good imitation. So his name was Yossi Graber, and he passed away a few years ago too. He was one of the first-rate actors in the theater in Israel.
Really?
Yeah, first rate. He was a great actor.
He was amazing,
and he came to act in that film because he was friendly with I don't think the director, but the producer, who was the father of the kid.
Yeah. His
they were friends, so he came and acted. So that was something, you know. It's first rate. It's almost like a movie, Hollywood movie star coming to act in a Charedi movie, because he's
also probably
with,
for you, like it was probably like intimidating for you to have on set or to act opposite him.
I knew him. I knew him well. We were friends also before I did my tshuva. So it was fun meeting him again and acting with him again. He was great. There was a lot to learn from him. Exactly how you did it. Can you do it again?
Ani Halifio Papa. Other lines he did. He did. I'm trying to remember a lot of the lines. I'm good at imitating.
I remember. I remember for the laugh he had, and I use it also because I learned it from him. Like he said, he taught me how to do it. This the vicious laugh.
צוחק מי שצוחק אחרון. Oh, it's so good.
And I think that in that movie, the director pressed too much, so he used to take emotions to the extreme all the time, and didn't
really.
I think there should have been a bit more balance for what is a peak and where really emotion has to be at its best, and where it has to be more casual.
Right.
I think there are moments where it's too much emotionally, too much it exaggerated a bit.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that film is that I'm blanking on the director's name, but his other films, Dag Maluach and Stem Okshim, it was a big scope production. There was like a lot of actors and a lot of kids and whatever. But Nevel HaKachol, if you really look at the main characters, there's like not a lot, and it worked so well. Meaning, like you had you and the priest, Carlos and and the other villain, and then you have Michael Weigel and the kid, really. But what really sold it was the story, the acting, and everything that was put on screen was just everything was like right on the money. It was perfect.
And he also, when I think about it, he did a very wide range production with a snapling, with a snake, with with the
sets, locations,
AI kind of effects he did at the time. There was
special
a lot
effects,
of
special effects.
Outdoors, indoors. It was very and he was a Chabad Chassid who also Chazer B'Tshuva, who learned cinematography in New York before I think he became he did his tshuva, and he used all his knowledge, which was a very memorable experience for me.
Yeah. All right, that's so good to hear the stories. I have so many other questions, but we are running out of time, and I would love for you to come back and join us.
And it's about 4 a.m.
3:30. But I feel like I feel like I'm like eating my best lunch. That's how I feel right now.
You have shachris soon.
All right, Zygazan, thank you so much, Rabbi Lazar.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye. Shalom, shalom. תודה רבה. בשורות טובות.
Thank you. תודה רבה.
It was very captivating, and it was very meaningful to listen from an actor that you typically wouldn't think is that deep. And he goes with you on a journey and explains and goes with you how his process is, what he wishes he could do better as an actor and as a Frum Jew. And I really, really loved our conversation. And I hope that we get another chance to do such a conversation with Evyatar Lazar in the future. All right, so please post in the comments below who else do you think I should interview for this podcast. And also, please also comment and check out the main channel where we do every Wednesday a live stream, every day a reaction, a review on Jewish music. So please comment over there on that channel on what songs you would like me to react to. I hope you enjoyed this episode, because I did. I hope to see you next week.